A white Chevrolet sits abandoned in one of the most unforgiving places on Earth, Death Valley. The car has been there for months, baking under the relentless desert sun. Inside, personal belongings remain untouched. But the driver? Nowhere to be found. This isn't just any missing person case. This is the story of Kelsey Pittman, a 33-year-old woman from North Carolina who disappeared without a trace, sparking one of the most extensive search operations California has seen in recent years. November 2024. Kelsey Pittman makes her last known contact with her family. She's somewhere in Utah, far from her North Carolina home. What happened next would puzzle investigators for 9 long months and leave a community of searchers asking one haunting question: how does someone simply vanish in the digital age? The story begins not with Kelsey's disappearance, but with a phone call that would change everything. February 9th, 2025. A concerned citizen contacts the Inyo County Sheriff's Office about a suspicious vehicle near an area locals call the Pads, or Slab City. This isn't your typical suburban neighborhood. Slab City is an off-the-grid community west of Death Valley National Park, where people go to disappear from society. It's a place where winter campers seek solitude, where cell towers don't reach, and where the nearest help is miles away. When deputies arrived at the scene, they discovered a 2009 Chevrolet HHR with North Carolina license plates. The registration came back to Kelsey Megan Pittman. But here's where the story takes its first mysterious turn. Despite searching the vehicle and combing through the surrounding desert terrain with park rangers, there was no sign of Kelsey anywhere. Think about that for a moment. Your car is found in the middle of nowhere, but you've completely vanished. No footprints leading away, no signs of struggle, no indication of where you might have gone. It's as if Kelsey Pittman had simply evaporated into the desert air. The investigation that followed reveals just how difficult it can be to report someone missing in our interconnected world. For months after finding the vehicle, deputies ran the license plates repeatedly, checking to see if Pittman had been reported as a missing person. Each inquiry came back negative. No missing person report existed. This wasn't negligence by law enforcement or family. This was the reality of a woman who had been living off the grid, maintaining minimal contact with the outside world. It wasn't until investigators tracked down Pittman's mother that the pieces began falling into place. The conversation was heartbreaking. Pittman's mother revealed that the last time anyone in the family had contact with Kelsey was back in November 2024. But even more concerning, the last official contact Kelsey had with anyone was with law enforcement in Utah that same month. After that, she had seemingly vanished from all records. The timeline is crucial here. Kelsey was last seen in St. George, Utah on December 2, 2024. Her car was found near Death Valley in February 2025, roughly 260 miles away. That's a significant distance through some of the most challenging terrain in the American Southwest. What happened during those months between her last sighting and the discovery of her vehicle remains one of the most puzzling aspects of this case. Death Valley isn't called Death Valley as a marketing gimmick. This is one of the hottest, driest, and most dangerous places in North America. Summer temperatures regularly exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Even in winter, when Kelsey would have been traveling through the area, the desert presents countless dangers. Dehydration can kill in hours. Getting lost means almost certain death. The fact that her car was found in this location sent chills through the investigative team. But here's what makes this case even more compelling. The area where Kelsey's car was discovered, the Pads, or Slab City, has a unique culture. It's a community of people who've chosen to live outside conventional society. Some are there by choice, seeking freedom from modern life's constraints. Others are there because they have nowhere else to go. It's a place where people don't ask too many questions about your past, and anonymity is respected. When investigators began their search operation, they were dealing with more than just harsh desert conditions. They were navigating a community that values privacy and independence above all else. Getting information from residents who might have seen Kelsey required building trust with people who generally prefer to avoid law enforcement contact. The search effort that followed was nothing short of extraordinary. From February through June 2025, the Inyo County Sheriff's Office coordinated with multiple law enforcement agencies across several states. This wasn't just local deputies walking through the desert. This was a full-scale operation involving drone teams equipped with thermal imaging cameras, cadaver dog handlers trained to detect human remains in extreme conditions, and volunteer search and rescue crews familiar with Death Valley's unique challenges. Imagine the scope of this operation. Searchers covered hundreds of square miles of some of the most hostile terrain imaginable. They checked mine shafts, explored hidden canyons, and investigated every possible location where someone might seek shelter or where remains might be found. The aerial searches alone covered territory that would take ground teams months to explore on foot. During the investigation, more details about Kelsey emerged that painted a picture of someone who valued her privacy and independence. Her mother revealed to investigators that Kelsey sometimes used aliases, including Infinity Jane and Jane Jones. This wasn't necessarily suspicious behavior, but it highlighted how someone could move through society while maintaining anonymity, especially in communities like Slab City, where alternative identities are common. The physical description investigators worked with showed a woman who could blend into the transient community around Death Valley. Kelsey was described as a Caucasian female, 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing approximately 130 pounds, with blonde or strawberry blonde hair and hazel eyes. In a community where people often change their appearance and avoid official documentation, finding someone matching this description became exponentially more difficult. As months passed without any breakthrough, the case began attracting national attention. Kelsey's information was entered into the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, known as NAMOS, in May 2025. This database helps connect missing person cases across jurisdictions and has been instrumental in solving cold cases nationwide. The fact that it took until May to get Kelsey's case into this system shows how complex missing person investigations can become when the missing individual has been living off the grid. The emotional toll on Kelsey's family during this period cannot be understated. Her mother traveled from North Carolina to California to assist with the search efforts near where the vehicle was found. Imagine making that journey, not knowing whether you're looking for your daughter alive or searching for closure. The uncertainty, the hope mixed with dread, the daily phone calls with investigators who had no new information to share. Throughout the summer of 2025, the search continued with decreasing intensity but unwavering determination. Investigators followed up on every tip, no matter how remote the possibility. They checked with hospitals, homeless shelters, and social services across multiple states. They coordinated with law enforcement agencies in Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and Nevada, following every possible lead about a woman matching Kelsey's description. Then, on July 22, 2025, everything changed with a single phone call. The Inyo County Sheriff's Office received information that would end 9 months of uncertainty and hundreds of hours of search efforts. Kelsey Pittman had been located. She was alive. She was in Colorado. After vanishing without a trace from one of America's most dangerous environments, after months of intensive searches that yielded no physical evidence, after her family feared the worst, Kelsey Pittman had been found safe. The announcement was as brief as it was shocking. The sheriff's office confirmed that Pittman had been located alive in Colorado, but provided no additional details about her condition, the circumstances of her discovery, or what had happened during the 9 months she was missing. Their statement was clear. Out of respect for her privacy and that of her family, no further details will be released. This resolution raises more questions than it answers. How did Kelsey survive nearly 9 months after disappearing from Death Valley? Where had she been during this time? How did she end up in Colorado? Was she there voluntarily, or were there circumstances beyond her control? The authorities' silence on these details is both frustrating and understandable, protecting a woman who has already been through an unimaginable ordeal. If you're finding this story as captivating as I am, and you want to stay updated on cases like this that challenge everything we think we know about missing persons investigations, make sure you're subscribed because we dive deep into the mysteries that keep investigators awake at night. The Kelsey Pittman case represents something larger than one woman's disappearance and recovery. It highlights the challenges law enforcement faces when investigating missing persons who live outside conventional society. It demonstrates the incredible dedication of search and rescue volunteers who risk their own safety to find strangers in need. Most importantly, it reminds us that in an age of constant connectivity and digital surveillance, it's still possible for someone to completely disappear. The search for Kelsey Pittman involved dozens of agencies, hundreds of volunteers, and thousands of hours of work. The cost in resources alone was substantial, but the cost in emotional energy for her family and the community that rallied to find her was immeasurable. The fact that this story has a positive ending, that Kelsey was found alive and safe, is a testament to the power of persistence and the refusal to give up hope. As we reflect on this case, we're left with profound questions about privacy, independence, and the lengths society will go to find those who've disappeared. Kelsey's story is ultimately one of survival against incredible odds, though the details of that survival remain hidden out of respect for her wishes. The desert keeps its secrets, but sometimes, just sometimes, it gives back what seemed lost forever. Kelsey Pittman's 9-month disappearance will likely remain one of those mysteries that investigators discuss for years to come. Not because it wasn't solved, but because the solution raises questions that may never be fully answered. What we do know is that somewhere in Colorado, a family has been reunited. Somewhere, a woman who survived an ordeal we can barely imagine is beginning to rebuild her life. And somewhere in Death Valley, the desert wind continues to blow across the landscape where one of the most extensive missing person searches in recent memory took place. The case of Kelsey Pittman reminds us that every missing person represents a family in anguish, a community mobilized to help, and investigators who refuse to give up. It shows us that even in our modern world, people can still vanish completely, and sometimes, miraculously, they can return. Before we close this incredible story of survival and mystery, I want you to take a moment to think about the volunteers who spent months searching the brutal Death Valley terrain for someone they'd never met. Their dedication saved resources that could be used for other cases and gave a family hope when hope seemed lost. If stories like this move you, if they make you think about the incredible capacity humans have for helping strangers, then this channel is where you belong. Hit that subscribe button and join a community that believes every missing person matters, every family deserves answers, and every mystery deserves investigation. The Kelsey Pittman case is closed, but her story will continue to inspire search and rescue efforts for years to come. Sometimes the desert gives back its secrets. Sometimes families are reunited against all odds. And sometimes the most important victory isn't solving the mystery, but simply bringing someone home alive.